Ole Miss at Auburn. This is a night game at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn currently favored by 3. So all the way up to a field goal. Remember the other night on Sunday when we made Auburn our early best bet and we got them at a pick. There's a reason we moved on that game early, because we thought that this would move pretty quickly to right where it is right now, which is Auburn -3. Now, if you want to bet Ole Miss, I'd do it right now, because if anything, that's probably coming back down a little bit closer to kickoff. Then there were some rumors about suspensions. And a lot of you were asking me, hey, what do you think about the suspension rumors for Auburn? Well, the fact that I never came off that bet publicly probably tells you all you need to know about what I thought about the rumors. Now, I don't want to talk about Rumors. Rumors is a great album by Fleetwood Mac, and if you want to talk to me about that off air, I will talk to you about it off air. But rumors around the program, not interested in talking about it. This could be the best game in the SEC Saturday. I mean, Ole Miss versus Auburn could very well be the best game in the SEC Saturday, but there's the D word out there, distraction. Everyone's worried about distraction. Little word to the wise. I would be very careful. If you're banking on Ole Miss winning this game, banking on them winning it because you think distractions are going to affect the outcome, and they're going to take the knees out from under Auburn this week. Let me tell you what I've watched that program do already this year. I've watched them lose to Penn State and then almost lose to Georgia State and fire a receivers coach and bench a quarterback, and after doing all that and having all kind of turmoil seemingly engulf the program, go play their best football of the year, on the road no less. I've already seen them do that. And so I know right now, you're looking maybe from the outside, and you're seeing all this talk about Brian Harsin this, and he hadn't told us that. And I'm just warning you, you may view it as a distraction. You may even be distracted by it. I'd be careful assuming that inside that Auburn locker room, they care about the same stuff and are focused on the same things that you're focused on. Be careful there, because there is an intangible factor in play that I think will have a direct outcome or direct impact on the outcome of this game, but it ain't distraction. Here's what it is. The last 4 weeks, the Ole Miss Rebels have played in order at Alabama, Arkansas, at Tennessee, LSU. You know what Auburn did last week? They sat at home. They're rested. Huge dynamic edge here. Aside from home field, huge dynamic edge for Auburn. Going to be a lot of focus about the quarterback position. Going to be a lot of focus on Matt Corral, as there should be. A lot of focus on Bo Nix, as there should be. I'm watching the Auburn ground game. I'm not even focused on quarterbacks as the element that will ultimately decide the game. You can have the same approach as Tennessee here, really, if you're Auburn. The only difference is you just got to tear off more yards per carry. I mean, Tennessee, I thought, had a sound enough approach against Ole Miss, but they did not run the ball consistently enough. And that's credit to Ole Miss for not allowing them to do it. But that plus extensions of the run, it's kind of the same thing we talked about in the Georgia-Florida game. If you can run the ball pretty effectively, I don't need 7 yards per carry from Auburn, but if you can float in that 5.5 to 6, that, along with what Bo Nix can do with his legs in conjunction with being able to extend the ground game via some short passes and screens in your own right, that will be enough. That'll be enough if you play this game in the manner with which you need to play it, dictating terms on your end. I'm not really focused, as I sometimes am, on a point total that's needed. See, sometimes we're looking at these games like last week, the Clemson-Pitt game. It was very popular, and I took part as well. It was very popular to ask, how many points do you think Clemson will need to win this game? I'm not there on this game. There is not a point total I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is the same stat that I was thinking about when Ole Miss played Alabama. Because you see, Ole Miss has won a game in the 50s this year. They've won a couple of games in the upper 20s, low 30s. But they lost decidedly. The only loss they had this year was against Alabama. It wasn't because of the just total amount of points Alabama scored. There wasn't like a certain line they had to get to. It's because Alabama won 3rd and 4th down defensively. That's the key here. So if you want to look at a statistic, it'll be Ole Miss offensively, 3rd down, 4th down conversion rate. They were woeful against Alabama, and they've been good enough in these other games. So Auburn could win this game in the 40s. Auburn could win this game in the upper 20s. I could actually see both of those playing out. Obviously, the latter is more likely than the former. But this is going to sound weird. I'm going to get to the prediction here, and we're going to take a look at what the model thinks. It's going to sound kind of weird given what I think about Ole Miss. I know that these two ideas haven't jibed, which I still think should be pronounced jived. It's a misspelling I've done my whole life that I've discovered like 2 weeks ago, and I still have not come to terms with it. But these two concepts, they're not really meshing. You look at the JP poll, which I'm about to show you in a few minutes, and you see that we've had Ole Miss consistently ranked higher than the AP has. But yet in this game, I'm about to pick Auburn to win, and I'm about to pick Auburn to cover, spoiler alert, because I don't like the dynamic. If they were meeting, let's say in Birmingham, and it's a 50-50 crowd split and both teams are coming off the bye, I'm picking Ole Miss. But I do not like the dynamics in play here, and because of that, Auburn is one of our favorite bets of the week. So let's take a look at what the model thinks, and let's take a look at what Vegas has right now. We've already showed you they're on the lower third, but if you're listening on podcast, Auburn -3 is the current number as we are live on Tuesday night. That could always change. The model has Auburn stretched up all the way as a 5-point favorite. That's our own in-house model for those unfamiliar. And I'm going to roll with it. I see no reason to buck the model. So we're going to go Auburn to win. We're going to go Auburn to cover. If they do, then Auburn starts to put themselves in position maybe for some interesting conversations down the stretch. However, if we're wrong and Ole Miss pulls what would be a very mild upset, Ole Miss is already in a conversation. It just makes the conversation more interesting because as of today, if Bama loses one more game in conference and Ole Miss doesn't, Ole Miss goes to Atlanta. And if they win Saturday, obviously we keep that alive. And you know for Alabama, if you can go in there as Ole Miss and win, then you also know if I take care of business, Bama's got to come in here too at the end of the year and win. So a lot of things, a lot of very interesting dynamics that extend just beyond Saturday night that will take place as a result of the game on the field Saturday night.